Who's the stiff they signed from Minnesota?
Oh, jeez.
Matt Garza.
Yeah. Matt Garza.
Luka Garza. I'm sorry.
Luka Garza.
Matt Garza was a pitcher for the Rays. But
Luka Garza. So I guess that
center.
Signing was announced before Cornette signing in San Antonio was announced. But anyway, Bobby Marks says there that both Cornette and Al Horford are gone. Can't tell you where yet, but they're gone. So Horford's gone. And that just sort of tells you that, well, what does that tell you, Mazz?
I think they're basically trimming down the whole thing for it's going to be a complete rebuild around Tatum, Brown, and Derek White. It's going to be those three guys. Everyone else is kind of out. And so Cornette probably got a little too rich for their blood, so now they want to go to the next Cornette. But I think it's basically they're whittling the thing down to those three guys.
Brown, White, Pritchard, a lot of suck. I mean, this is a massive downgrade just player to player for these. And look, I get the financial constraints and why they couldn't do it, but, like, they're a worse team, period.
Oh, they're definitely worse.
So is the dismantle deeper than I think fans were bargaining for?
Yeah, I think the cut's a little deeper.
Yes,
for sure.
Yeah, and I think there's still more coming. I think Stevens is holding Simons as a, I don't want to say a trump card because that's too strong, but I think it's not a great free agent class. Somebody's going to want some scoring, and they're going to make a deal somewhere along the line and move him. That would be my guess.
So, Bobby Marks was standing in front of a board that had the Celtics team payroll at just over $200 million and the tax at just over $50 million. And as you heard him say there, a month ago, that was about $300 million. It equaled $250. So now their payroll plus tax is $250. A month ago, it was $550. So they just trimmed $300 million.
Yeah, they did. They just hacked at it.
So,
and I think it might not be over yet.
I definitely don't think it's over because there's still, if you really want to do it, quote unquote, right, and I don't know if it's right, if you really want to, well, listen, when Brad Stevens comes out the other day and uses the flexibility word like 12 times, it gives you an insight into what their priority is the full flexibility. Well, they're not there yet. They're still over the tax. They're still in the first apron. They're still in these repeater areas. So to get full flexibility, they have to get below the tax, not even this year, but next year as well. They got to go 2 straight years below the tax to regain full flexibility. So this isn't a 1-year holding pattern. This is a 2-year holding pattern if this is really what they're aiming at. How should Celtics fans feel about that?
Pissed. Now, again, they're going to be able to hide some of it when Tatum comes back because people will be so euphoric about Tatum. They'll say, okay, well, we got this, we got our big guy back. We're going to be a lot better. It's going to work. But there'll still be some plugging necessarily around him that people are going to overlook in the short term and then realize it later. But they'll hide behind the Tatum return.
I mean, Chris Forsberg, NBC Sports Boston, writes it here. He says, if you're looking for some sort of light at the end of the tunnel, as the Celtics championship roster is stripped for parts to pay the rent for their title season. So if you're looking for some sort of light at the end of the tunnel, set your gaze toward the summer of 2027. That's the light at the end of the tunnel.
2 years from now.
2 years.
2027, not 2026. 2027. It's not just waiting for Tatum to come back. It's not waiting for Tatum to come back. It's waiting to get out of the repeater tax. It's getting 2 straight years under the tax to save these new owners all sorts of money and regain their flexibility. You know who's had a tremendous amount of flexibility in the last several years? The Patriots. Extremely flexible. You could also say they've been cheap, but they've got a lot of flexibility.
Could also say they've sucked.
They could spend their face off because they've been cheap. So that's flexible. It's also not spending your money. But the Celtics get, that deference here. It's being flexible. It's not being penny wise. It's not being, what are we really talking about here? We're talking about the money and the new ownership, and that's the harsh reality. And the Cornette is kind of a tipping point for me. It's because it's like, I can see Porzingis and Holiday. They've been on the proverbial cutting block here for a while. Older players, injury prone in the case of Porzingis. Those were like the big ticket luxury items. A part of me had thought that you jettison those guys to keep the Cornettes of the world because that's that's a guy that stays, and not that he's any all-world player, but, Porzingis gets it, so Cornet stays. Well, if now it's Cornet's out and Horford's out too, what are you doing? You're just stripping it down.
Yeah, they are. They're hacking away at it.
Well, and also a minor, FU of sorts to Jason Tatum, who's out right now and rehabbing and already working to try to get his way back. There's been a viral video these last couple of days. He's out there doing crunches, got a kettlebell in his hand. Cornet was good with him offensively. They had a good thing going with the pick and roll here. So if I'm Tatum, I know what I am. I know that this worked. I'm like, wait a minute, what the hell is this? I knew you had to do some things because of the financial constraints of the second apron and blah 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 and all of that. But you already peeled off one of these guys?
Well, so
Derek White better not be next.
No, but this is frustrating to me because on the one hand, I'm going to get all this Tatum injury positivity shoved down my throat by NBC Sports Boston and, the Celtics Pravda local media and all. Look how good he looks and how ahead his schedule is. And how smart were the Celtics and shrewd to get him into surgery immediately. How smart are you guys? Smart. God, they're smart and ahead of the game. So what's the end game to that? Why are you going to shove that down my throat? What's the end game? That he comes back ahead of schedule, right? Well, what's the diff? What's the point of bringing him back ahead of schedule if you're going to strip down everything around him to get under the luxury tax?
Right, because if I'm him, I'm like, why rush this if this is what it's going to look like?
It just goes back to you just want good news everywhere, even though that doesn't add up. If Tatum is so ahead of schedule and is so primed to come back at a record pace before anyone else has ever come back at the level he's come back, because that's what you want to believe at Celtics fans, because you just pump yourself with green endorphins and green, drugs. You just feed your veins with green good news. It's ahead of schedule. We were so smart. Here he comes. Okay, then why don't you just keep the team together and be an NBA favorite next year? You see what I'm saying?
Of course. Yes, makes perfect sense.
So if you have a championship caliber roster, and with Jason Tatum and that full roster back, you are an NBA title favorite. Like you were last year and the year before. You're a favorite. You're one of the 2 or 3 top favorites to win the NBA championship. You just keep everybody together. But your owner doesn't want to pay it. I don't blame him. But but in that case, all those Fakakta apron penalties don't matter. You don't need the taxpayer mid-level exception if you've got the roster you have, just like you haven't needed it the last couple of years. You don't need it. It doesn't matter. If your first-round pick drops to the end of the first round, you're already there. So those second apron penalties are useless. They are a non-factor. So why don't you just keep the team together? So what I would do is just give me one or the other. It doesn't matter how Tatum's progressing because you're giving up on the season. If he's progressing so great and he's going to come back ahead of schedule, then I'm going to ask you, why are you giving up on the season?
So I think it's the first thing. I think I think they are leaving open the idea that Tatum could come back just to sort of hang it out there for the fan base. But you want my opinion? Jason Tatum's not playing next year. And even if he could, they're going to hold him out and wait for the fall of 26.
They might as well. If this is what, if
that's what I think they're doing.
If all they're doing here is biding time to reset the money for the new owners, then don't feed me any of this other crap. Just, again, let's talk like adults and just talk about what's really happening here. As Forsberg writes, here's the potential end game. If the Celtics avoid the luxury tax in each of the next 2 seasons, the team would be positioned to splurge in the summer of 2027. Boston could restock the prices around whatever version of the Tatum, Brown, Derek White core that remains and spend at least 2 more seasons pursuing titles. Okay? How does that taste?
Like garbage.
2 years. Not 1, 2.
Say the Celtics fans will slop it right up. Are you kidding me? They'll lick it right up.
They'll lick it all up.
Of course they will.
Lick up whatever it is.
They will definitely lick it up.
It's what a world. What a life. What a luxury these Celtics, the owners, and the managers have. It's like whatever they do.
In that way, it was a good get for Chisholm.
Seriously.
Yeah, because, again, no pressure from the fan base.
Well, anyway, there's a NBA thought for you. Cornette's out. Horford's next. What's coming after that? And how do you feel about the 2-year plan? This isn't just one off season to get under the apron. This is going all the way, getting under the tax for 2 straight years. In which case, I'd be asking Tatum, why are you working so hard? Take your time, pal. Lay off a little bit because there's no need for you to come back. You are not part of the equation the next 2 years. We're saving the owners money. That's what we're doing the next 2 years here. To get the flexibility that Stevens is talking about, it's not 1 year out of the tax or the apron. It's 2 straight years to get out of the repeater taxes. And that means basically in 2026-27, it's Tatum, Brown, and White and a bunch of crapola. In the I guess those numbers aren't out there right now, but the luxury tax threshold right now is 187.9. Okay, call it 188. Brown, Tatum, and White themselves, 61, 20, 150, equal about 145.
Right, 140, 145, right.
Did he just say that?
No, but I heard that number yesterday.
Okay, so yeah, those 3 guys are about 145 a year. Mm-hmm. So you'll have about 30 million next year. No, I'm sorry. If the luxury tax is 191, 45 million to fill out the remaining 12 spots on the roster. There's 15 guys, 12 guys, whatever it is.
Yeah, a whole lot of suck.
Nothing but suck. Sam Hauser's at 10.8 that year. He'd be your 4th highest paid player.
Bye-bye.
Peyton Pritchard would be your 5th highest paid player at 7.8. You'd still have Baylor, Shireman, Queta, Jordan Walsh at 2.7, 2.7, and 2.4 respectively. This Hugo Gonzalez, 2.9. The new Luka Garza, 2.8. That's your team in 2 years.
Great.
Get ready for a lot of those guys starting this year.
And wait to hear how excited Celtics fans are going to be for all the flexibility.
Yeah, I like Shireman.
We will have. It's all you're not playing to sit out the year. You're playing for flexibility. What amounts to 3 seasons.
I think Hugo's going to be a star
for the 2028 NBA Finals. That's what you're talking about.
We go as Hugo.
I'm just telling
Get
you.
it?
I mean, and you're okay with your owner doing it that way? Back to your calls. Here's Matt in Methuen. Go ahead, Matt.
Heading into this past season, I'm pretty sure everyone agreed that it was championship or bust. And the reason it was championship or bust because if we weren't going for the three-peat, they were going to blow up the team. Obviously, the way they lost was embarrassing, but Holiday was kind of washed at the end. Porzingis was kind of washed at the end. Horford's going to go chase the ring. I think the real culprit in all this is Adam Silver and the way the league is structured.
Oh, God. So you're going to blame the commissioner for this?
Yes.
So
they can't blame the Celtics.
So the other one I love now is
you can never blame the Celtics.
No, I know. What I love now is the Holiday is wash thing. I would take Holiday in a minute.
Heartbeat.
You telling me there aren't teams out there that wouldn't
over this freaking loser, Simons?
Definitely. Of course you would.
Another just chuck and duck, no defense loser Portland Trailblazer? You'd rather have that guy over one of the most solid guys in the league in Drew Holiday? Children.
Exactly. And solid in every way imaginable. On the floor, off the floor, all of it. The guy just reeks of dignity. All of it. He's a winner.
Joe in Canton. Go ahead, Joe.
Guys, back to the Sox. Hunter and Dick Fitz, is that the Sox latest adult entertainment promotion to sort of draw, a different audience in? Guys, pitching is still a big issue. I don't know if you've talked about Quinn Priester at all. Again, it may sound like a rounding error, but this is a guy they picked up last year for Nick York.
Hey, Joe.
So they had to sort of,
Thank you for the call. We did it at least twice yesterday.
Yes.
So we've hit on it several times now.
Yeah, and look, again, if the Red Sox want to be this organization that finds diamonds in the rough, brings them into their organization, taps into their untapped potential, and gets something out of them that other teams couldn't, they suck at it. I have news for John Henry. They suck at it.
I mean, I kept asking, why bail so early before even really giving him a crack at the big league level? And I know the answer. His stuff isn't impressive. I don't know why they would have traded for him in the first place. Because he probably his spin rate and his velo and all that crap is just from the eye. He does not have special stuff. I don't feel.
Well, there was a development opportunity there.
Well, all I'm saying is he was cheap.
Yep.
And cost controlled and team controlled and that thing. And you like to not even see it through to, throw him in here and just to see, well, maybe our calculations are wrong on this. Let's see how he pitches. To just give up on it before they even gave it a shot, to me, is frankly ridiculous.
Yeah, it is. I don't get it either. Again, the whole point of acquiring a guy like that is because you say we can tap into the talent that the other team wasn't able to tap into, and we can get something out of him.
What did they get back? What did the Brewers give up?
They got a left-handed hitting outfielder, and there was another guy that I'd have to look it up. One of them has some level of promise, but I don't think either one of them has done anything in the organization yet.
How about Nick in the car? Go ahead, Nick.
Hey, guys. How's it going?
Good.
I know we were already thin at big, and now with Cornette gone, and then, everyone's, saying that Horford's probably going to be leaving too. And Cada blows. So I guess, are we just going to go super, super small and just chuck even more threes because we have no bigs at all?
Yeah, you know what? You might. I think, you know how I feel about the three-pointer and analytics in the sport and how much it costs you, and you know how much it costs you. When you suck, what's the diff? Or when you're playing from behind talent-wise, maybe the three-pointer is the way to close the gap. I don't know. I think you are going to try to ascribe some sort of basketball strategy to what they're doing when the fact is you're looking at it the wrong way. They're trying to get below a salary number. And however that shakes out is how that's going to shake out. And, obviously they're going to try and have enough big guys and enough wing players and enough guards, and they'll try and balance the roster. But the first priority is the money, and then they're going to piece it together from there. So I don't think they're trying to do anything. I think it's just, frankly, I think it's a coincidence that Simons shoots the three ball. I think that he comes on an expiring contract. Portland was willing to do the deal. It allowed you to get rid of Drew Holiday in that contract, and that's if Anthony Simons was a pass-first point guard who didn't shoot threes, I think he still might be here because I don't think he's gonna remain here. I think it was about the contract, not the player.
Yeah, I think that he's gonna move too. I don't think he's staying.
I think he's out. So to me, it's incidental. How about Ken in the car? Go ahead, Ken.
Hey guys, thanks for taking my call. So I hear you guys mention Simons. I'd love to move him out of town, but is there a possibility that they could trade him or package him up and try to get a big-time center or just whatever's out there on the free agent market? I just wanted your guys' thoughts.
I think you're looking at it wrong, Ken. Brad Stevens told you the most important. What did he say is the most important thing for us right now at this juncture?
Flexibility.
He said it 12 times.
Flexibility.
So he's not thinking about getting a big-time center. He's not thinking about a shoot first point guard. He's not thinking about spreading. He's not thinking about that.
Flexibility.
You know what he's thinking about?
Flexibility.
$187.9 million. That is the luxury tax.
It's called flexibility.
This is the next 2 years.
What's that word?
It's
flexibility.
Just the money. If you want to handicap what they're going to do, just think money. Don't think basketball.
It's like Flex Seal. Flexibility.
And I know you're okay with it, but I'm just trying to straighten you out. That's what it's about.
Flexible.
Brian in New York. Go ahead, Brian.
Yes. Hello. Could you tell me what part does Weasel Wick play in this? He knew what he was hiring. When you hire a hedge fund guy, they don't give a damn about anything. They just chisel and chisel and chisel. And if Chisholm, he knew what he was walking into. If you don't have the money, stay home or get out.
He knew what he was walking into, and he's okay dismantling. He's okay deleveraging. It's what he does in his everyday line of work. It's what they do. Trim the fat. Cut, gut, flip. He's used to it. So he knew what he was getting into. And absolutely, I think, and I like Wick, and I think he's done a great job as a front-facing owner. So, but I think a lot of his public conveyance has been kind of weaselly. We'll spend whatever it takes. Well, it's easy for you to say it's not your money.
It never was.
And it never was. And so it's kind of been not a bait and switch, but he hasn't exactly presented to you exactly what the story is. He wasn't spending his money. And the current ownership group And the new ownership group were not prepared to keep spending that money. So whenever he said whatever it takes, the most important thing is championships, that's not a genuine statement. Most owners will make the exact same statement in his defense. He's not doing anything that's much different than other owners. We'll spend whatever it takes. No, you won't. Stop it. But that doesn't mean you should let him off the hook. Especially as he walking around like he owns the place. He has this like, I'm the guy. Oh, Wick. It's like, dude, it's your daddy's team. And it's kind of a weasel move. And again, I like him and he's done a good job, but there's a little something there. If you want to pick at him, you got it.
I mean, the whole thing was kind of a ruse. Really?
A little bit.
There wasn't a lot behind the cardboard cutout.
Hashtag Pags would have paid. Hashtag Pags would have kept everyone together, waited for Tatum's well ahead of schedule. I don't know if you've seen the videos online, kids. I know you have. So he's way ahead of schedule, doing things you never could have imagined. A guy who had suffered that injury just months ago because the Celtics were super smart and shrewd because they are the smartest team in the league. They got him into surgery early. If they keep the whole team intact and just wait for Tatum to come back now in February because he's way ahead of schedule and just paid the freight, they'd be an NBA favorite. One of them. Would Pags have done that?
Nope. And by the way,
he said he would have.
Wick said he was going to remain on to be front and center during the transition.
Oh yeah,
right?
He's still running the team. That's right.
Right. I mean, he's
running the team now just as much as he did when his dad owned the team.
How come he's
not?
How come we don't see him or hear from him now that they're ripping it apart?
It's interesting.
It is.
Maybe like that burger kid. He's lost cell service. The servers are down. Haven't heard from him recently.